Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and here we are in our fourth webinar for Series 1 of our Reaching Out. It is all about digital literacy for the school librarian, which we have been, of course, looking at Dr. Matson's book. And so we're going to look at the end of her book, about the last chapter, actually, for expanding your PLN, contributing, not just consuming. And of course, we encourage you to use the chat and use or unmute your mic. There aren't that many of us for questions and comments. And you know, I like to talk a mile a minute, so just say, excuse me, I'll stop. And then the first question right there on the left-hand side is, which social media platform do you find most useful as a professional? Now, when we started this out, I would have said Twitter. And I still love Twitter over Facebook, but I'm in love with Zoom. I just did an author visit and a poet visit on Zoom, and it was fantastic. Plus, both of them allowed me to record it to show other classes, and then, of course, with the promise that I would delete them. But it opens up so many possibilities to be able to do that live visit and then record it to use. Because I couldn't fit all 100 and I don't know, I think I have 105 eighth graders now, all at the same time with our schedule and with testing. So, are we chatting our answers, or just unmute and tell us what's your favorite platform right now?
I'll talk. I really like Facebook. I'm in a number of professional development groups on Facebook, and so I use the Future Ready Librarians a lot. But I am in a handful of other ones too that are relevant, that are a little more specific. I'm a Makey educator, and so I'm in the Makey group. I'm in the Merge Cube group. I'm in ALA think tank, mainly for the entertainment, but but there's some good stuff there too. I mean, it's a good resource. So I like that just because it's a nice mix. Plus, I can kind of keep up on what's going on with my friends and family too. So that's my favorite social media platform. But I also, every time I go on Twitter, I find good stuff on Twitter too. So. Awesome. Nola says she likes Facebook. She has a couple of teacher groups that are helpful, good ideas, and some share books that they like for certain grade levels. That's really awesome. And that's, I get a lot of ideas from what teachers share on Facebook.
And I get a lot of mine in the current news, Twitter. But I guess I must say, what I like best on Facebook are the groups. Because the Global Read Aloud group, for instance, they go all year long, even though it's not Global Read Aloud time right now. And so Carrie has added.
She says she would say Twitter. She follows a whole bunch of librarians and English teachers and find many ideas every single day. That's awesome.
And another thing about Twitter, I follow actual, like, Wakelet. I follow companies as well as people, because then I find out when the new stuff is released. Like, what were we doing the other day? Oh, Wakelet. My kids you can now click on Google Classroom and they can share their Wakelet link right in their assignment. It's so cool. I might have talked about that last webinar though. Anybody else? Part of it too is just, remembering after dinner, the time I sit down on the couch after dinner, I just check a few things. I rarely have time to check anything during the school day, which I'm sure no one else has time for that either. Well, we wanted to ask that because with TIE Conference coming up, whether you're attending or not attending, there are some options, and they're pretty good ones for social media. To follow along.
Erin has pulled back in her social media, in her personal life with social media, but she's starting to really enjoy Twitter. Erin, and I think that balance is really important, and that's why I like Joan talking about, when she, kind of sits down and looks at it. I like Twitter because I feel like with Twitter, it's, I can look at it and I'll see the most current things, and then if I don't look at it again for a week, it's fine. It just kind of keeps on going without me, and it's all good. And if it's really good, it'll be retweeted again. And then Danette says she likes Facebook and she's more familiar with Facebook rather than Twitter or Instagram. Oh, and it's interesting you mentioned Instagram. Do any of you guys use Instagram at all?
No, but I have people who share what they put on Instagram on Twitter or Facebook, so I feel like
You can
I'm a little connected to it, but I don't use it myself personally.
actually I do have a couple of PD professionals that I follow on Instagram, and it is kind of fun. But I don't do a lot on Instagram. It's just where my kids are, and so that's kind of why I'm on Instagram. And I look at Instagram like maybe once a month. So
I, I have Instagram, but I don't use it very often, and my kids know how to use it more than I do. So it's one of those where I don't get it very often either.
mhm.
And I've gotten where social media I just use for professional reasons. Although I have a professional Facebook and a personal one, I really am on my professional stuff more than anything. Well, anyway, the social media part of
Carrie.
TIE Conference we want you to know about.
Yes, because Carrie uses Instagram because her grown children post on Instagram more than Twitter and Facebook. See, and that's I think it's kind of where your crew is. And what's been
Exactly.
interesting for me is basically wherever you build your PLN, you will most likely find resources to support that. And so going on to the upcoming TIE conference.
Right. And, for social media, there's a lot of creeping. I do a lot of watching and looking and beg, borrowing, and stealing other ideas. But of course, what Dr. Mattson is telling us is to make a community viable and and keep a community positive and up to date, we need to contribute to that community also. So whether you're at TIE or not, you can creep on it and you can contribute to it. So there's the link to the TIE conference. There is the Twitter. And we have some hashtags. And just for our group, I think, right, Julie?
Yeah.
Julie invented a not at TIE 19. So we can use that hashtag for those of us not attending and to share information for those who are there with those not attending. But one of the things I find useful too, maybe not right when it's happening, but later, is to look at what people said about some of the guest speakers or the sessions they went to, because whether you go or not, you have access through the TIE site to the resources that the presenters, am I right, Julie, whether you go or not?
And I was going to show you guys, because I know they've just sent out the call for resources a couple days ago.
Right.
But I sent mine in earlier this week. So if you go and you pick a session, and so if you look at the schedule, for example, and I know we have the IMLS.
Yeah, I put mine up already too.
The IMLS session. And so when you look at any session and you click on the speaker's name, it'll give you any related websites or resources under the speaker's name. And so that's one way. If you see people talking about a session, you can go in and look and see if there's any resources. And I do this all the time for different conference, some of the big name conferences like FETC in Florida and ISTE and the Texas one, and so I use it a lot when I'm, just to kind of catch up on trends and see what's going on out there. But so that's one way you can look, and then you can also, if you look at just presenters, you can go in and look that way. So we can see if Joan's down under the U's.
Well, I sent it. I'm not sure it was posted yet. I didn't check. But this is the cool thing, whether you're there or not. Even sometimes when you're there, it's so overwhelming because you hear session after session. But later you can go back and check that out. And what is she? Yep, there's my in-depth resources. And click on breakout resources. How's that look when it comes up?
I don't know. I don't know what you sent her. You sent her
I sent a Wakelet.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering if that comes up easy or what that looks like.
They just,
It says Wakelet is using cookies, so you have to agree to that.
Okay. Yeah, it'll come. It's just slow today.
Yeah. And of course, knowing our OER and our things that we have learned about curation, I tried not to put a lot of things in there. I think I tried to keep it under 10.
You go.
I know 10's a lot, but I'm such a dumper and such a hoarder of things.
I know.
So anyway, we encourage you to, whether you're at Ty or not, to follow Ty and follow these things on social media. And it's always something that you can come back to when you have a minute to catch your breath. You don't have to do it instantly while it's going on. Anything else we want to add there?
No, I don't think so. I think that's pretty.
Okay. But other PLN possibilities, and again, Ty's not the only conference to do that with. Sadly, I've never been able to go to an ISTE in person, but I have always followed the ISTE social media stuff, so I feel like I learn a lot. But ALA has really gone to town on their social media channel. If you go ahead and click on that graphic, Julie, just to give them a look at the list, ALA has got everything covered. If you just want to, they connect in so many ways. And again, you don't have to be a member. You can click on these things and find out what's going on, and they have the hashtags and everything else. And you can even go to look at specific things that you're interested in.
That's cool.
It's more than any one person has time for. So you know what I wonder? Who at ALA keeps track of all this? It's impressive. But then in addition to that ALA page right there, this is something we looked at our fall session. AASL has put together a fantastic hashtag bank. And what I really like about theirs too is that not only is it very comprehensive, it is not just the library world. Because what I have found is we are educators, and we sometimes, or maybe I should speak for myself, me, it takes so much time to look at AASL and ALA and all this other that I forget about all the other educational entities out there who have great information that relates to libraries and to what we do, and so that we can keep up with what our teachers are doing too. So, I mean, one of my all-time favorites, of course, is, it just went out of my mind, Edutopia. I make sure I follow them. And I follow them on Twitter. And so, if it's not interesting, I just go on by, or else you can click in. So there's just about everything you could think of here, not just library. And you might find some on here you would recommend to some of your colleagues as well.
And Nola comments that she's glad to know we can access information even if you can't make it to the conference. And so, yes, and that is, I think, one of my favorite things, because there's a lot of conferences that I would like to go to and I can't. And so going back and pulling resources is always a nice thing.
Exactly. And I think in this digital age, more and more organizations are making more of their information and their events available for free, whether you attend or not, thanks to things like social media. Okay, so these other resources down the side, besides those two things in ALA and AASL, I found this to be an interesting article, and we don't need to click into it if you just have time. But it's an educator who said 3 mistakes I made trying to be innovative. Said he was so busy following social media and keeping up with the latest this and the latest that he never took the time to actually try those things in his own classroom. So, some of it is, it's back to that thing where you can't do it all. You need to pick 1 or 2 things you're comfortable with and try it. And I am so guilty of this because I find new exciting things, but it's like, wait a minute, I haven't really explored everything I can do with Wakelet with my students yet. I'm not going to go on. I looked at those AASL, apps and websites. It's like, no, I'm not going to try something new till I get this Wakelet down. And then your PLN source of inspiration or thief of joy. That one is another one I think that some of us fall into, is that, wow, look what all this librarian here does. I don't do that. Oh, I'm a horrible librarian because I don't do everything they do. And it's really not, probably the best thing. That it's good to get ideas, but not to compare what we do so closely, because every school's different, every staff's different, what our kids need are different. So that one is a nice article if you need a little perspective on that. And then this one is interesting because there's 10 social media competencies. And Julie, will you click into that one because it is an infographic? And these are basically, and I love the Blue Skunk blog if you don't follow. That's another one. This was based on something he had done in the past, and then someone else updated it. And it says for teachers, but I really think it's for librarians, for all educators. And really, 10 things that we need to know about. So I'm not going to go through that. Just wanted to show you that it's a cool little graphic, and that might be something, too, you want to use with your staff. Or a lot of you have been telling me that you're doing like presenting here and there at different meetings within your district or your school. That would make a quick 10-minute, here's what's new type thing if you have time at a meeting. And then back to our applying. Again, all this is out there. And of course, don't forget that you have your state associations, SDLA, NDLA, and WLA, plus your state libraries. Your state libraries are on social media. There is so much information out there. Again, you pick the one or two things you're comfortable with, and then you can build or just stay with the ones that you think are most useful. I don't think it's somebody wins an award for the most followers or the most whatever they follow, organizations or people. So a little bit more about contributing to your online community then. I found it interesting in Dr. Matson's last chapter where she's talking a lot about slacking or acting, slackativism or activism. And a great example of that, and I think especially if you're middle school or high school, this is appropriate to show your kids. Thank you, Scott. It was a Saturday Night Live skit. And of course, Dr. Matson recommended this in her book. And it's about the guy who sits on the couch. And, you know, he tweets, he's on Facebook, he likes, he retweets. And a lot of it is that really activism? Just always being online, or do you need to take what you're doing online out into the real world? And I think that's a really good question to pose with our older kids too. And of course, whether it's positive or negative. And we went over that in our last webinar, that some of the surprising comments that people make when we're on professional sites even. So one of the things that we wanted to share with you as far as contributing to online communities is the TIE Reads, which is the online ebooks that are available to anyone who is a TIE member. However, because you're members of our cohort, you are going to get access to this. And Julie, do you want to take over and tell them a little bit more how that works?
I do. So I created everybody's accounts, and in TIE Reads, your login is seriously just your work email address. And so once you click in TIE Reads, there's the account up here, and if you click on Sign In, you're in. All of your content goes into your account. And it is an Overdrive platform. So if you guys are familiar with Overdrive platforms, it's a professional development collection. You can check out 2 titles at a time, and we've been working this for the last 3 years, and it's just such a amazing collection of professional development content. And so as you are working with your teachers, as you're working with, as you guys are working through the resources for this class, you're going to be able to find content in here that will provide you with ideas and resources. So, because you just can't find professional development titles anywhere else. And so, for example, I know a lot of our schools are doing a lot with coding and makerspaces. And so we have a whole collection of coding and makerspaces titles. And so these are all really, those popular titles that you see and you'd like to maybe look at or even borrow. Now you can go in and check them out and borrow them for up to 3 weeks. And then they just go away when you're done. We also have a lot of collections for growth mindset has been one of the really big things that's been coming along with a lot of the the areas that we work in, differentiation, grading, social emotional learning. So just a lot of different content areas here. We have both audiobooks and ebooks. This is one of the things that when I do purchase content for this collection, I always try to get the ebook and the audiobook if there's an audiobook available. And so when we're looking, so I just looked at all the nonfiction titles. I can filter my search by audiobook, and then it only brings up all the audiobooks. And so this is a really quick way to find audiobooks. If they are grayed out, it means that they are checked out right now, and so you can place them on hold. And I really do encourage you guys to place books on hold, just because it makes it easier for you to get them when you're and if there's enough holds, I will purchase another copy. You can also filter by only books that are available now. And so if I just need something to listen to because I'm driving to South Dakota for the TIE conference, you can go in and get what's available. So even if you're not a TIE member school, because you are part of the grant, you have access. And so your access was created with your email address that you signed up for the grant with, that we've been communicating. So not your alternative email address, but your main email address. So it should be your work email address, though some of you guys, I can't tell. I mean, not mean, I mean, you just have Gmail, and so I'm not sure if it's work or not. But I'm really excited, and I think it'll be really good to be able to let you guys check that out. So that is pretty much TIE Reads in a nutshell. Anything else I should talk about it, Joan?
Or does anyone have questions? And also, again, Julie mentioned she's the one who puts content in here, so definitely recommend titles that you don't see. And maybe your school's already had a good experience with one that's not here that could be added. Of course, everything's not available as ebook or audiobook, but hey, we'll look and try. Definitely. And as we did this year, we provided 2 print books. We will be providing a couple print books every year, but we want to supplement that with this. And
oh, speaking of print books, all of the print books that we purchased for you guys this year are in TIE Reads. And then we also have, like, I know everybody got a age-specific book of the Now Classrooms. Right. And so I know some of you were, kind of cross grades, or you work K-12 and we made you pick because we're funny that way. You can actually, we have all the Now Classrooms books available, including, she has what is her one? It's
like for administrators. I have that one too. Yeah.
The Leader's Guide.
Leader's Guide.
Yeah.
Right.
And so if you guys, are feeling like you wanted to look at one, especially as we're going into summer, let's see how fast I go from testing to summer, Joan.
Yeah. Thank you.
Make that leap. Especially as we're going into summer, and you're thinking about planning or wanting to thinking about next year, this could be a really great way. So all the Now Classroom books are. The book by Kristen is in here, but I mean, obviously you guys have that, but there's also a number of other digital literacy type books.
And that's another reason not to pack your Now book. We'll look at it as an ebook if we need it.
Yeah, I have a number
coming to conference. Yeah.
There's a number of digital literacy titles, and so just some really cool things that are available. And so yeah.
So we hope you take advantage of that. And maybe next year there might be an assignment where you just get to pick any old book you want, and we'll build class around or some kind of event around it, because we want you to keep accessing this through the whole time that you're in the cohort. There's just were too many things to tell you all at once. But we like to.
We try to curate, right, Joan?
Yeah. So, and again, in the chat, there's nothing wrong with creeping whatsoever. And, but also, how do you feel if you're new to something? My opinion is, if you're new to something, you need to do a lot of creeping to kind of see how it works and how the community itself responds to each other. But when do you think it's the time that you feel comfortable that you can just jump in and create? I think you guys have been doing pretty good on our Facebook group. But do you have any other examples or experiences you could share with us?
You can talk or use the chat.
Yeah, go ahead. Unmute yourself or chat. Or it could be the experience you've had just in this class, too.
I
Oh,
think
Erin's already checked out a book.
I
Yay.
know. See how easy it is? I think my favorite is was the one recently. I mean, what I really like, what I've seen more on the Facebook group, where we're sharing questions, and the group is starting to answer people's questions, and I think that's kind of cool. Oh, nice. Carrie says because of the experiences in this class, she's feeling much more comfortable posting, especially in Twitter. That's good,
Good.
Carrie. I'm glad to hear that. I'm really only a conference poster. I mean, I do a lot of, like, with the Thai conference coming up, I will most likely, I don't want to jinx myself, but I'll most likely tweet quite a bit during the Thai conference, but I don't tend to tweet a lot day to day.
I like stuff and I retweet things. And Erin, we'll look forward to hear what you think about the book you just checked out. You can put that on Facebook or tweet it.
That's one thing I'm horrible about. I'm one that I'd rather like other people's things, and I never take the time to actually tweet something myself or write a post myself. So I do need to work on that.
Right, but I also think that all comes in time. And it's back to that idea that, oh, look what everybody else does. I don't do that. And it's okay. It really is. But we all get to that creating eventually.
Good to hear. I'll work up to that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think I need to create more, but I'm so busy reading all the good stuff everybody else does.
I know, and I struggle with that too. So it's like how to, balance that.
And then also, as professionals, we have that feeling like, well, I don't know as much as other people know about this. So, maybe feeling a little humble that nobody wants to hear what I put out there. But yeah, they do. They do, because everybody's experience is different. Okay, well, we said today was going to be short and sweet. Do you have any questions or other comments? Basically, we'd like to see your involvement, whether you're at the Thai conference or not, and see that you just, take a look at what's going on, whether it's after the conference or during. But those of you who are going to take the webinar series for credit, again, there's the further reading. And then the assignment is that we'd like you to follow the conference by Twitter or Facebook and explore the Thai reads further. You're going to select a topic from the Thai conference or something about Thai reads to share with your PLN. You can use any social media and just post about something that, just seems too fabulous not to share. It could be something you post to Future Ready Librarians, our Reaching Out Facebook group. You could tweet it with the AASL hashtag, or send just to your school or district colleagues within something that you think would be useful for them. So you're going to copy whatever you've tweeted or posted to your course reflection below as part of your summary. And so those of you who are doing the webinars for credit, you do the assignments for all 4. So this is a 1 to 2 page course reflection covering all 4 of the webinars, the content of them, and of course, Dr. Matson's book. So which tools or resources do you see yourself utilizing most? It's the pretty typical questions we've asked on course reflections. And then, of course, anything you want to share and discuss, put on our Facebook page. The other thing is, we also are right in the middle still of our OER online course. The webinar course, if you're doing that for credit or you want just CEE hours, you need, please let us know. But the webinar course and the work that you need to receive credit for attending TIE, that is all due April 30th. The OER course that we're in the middle of will end on May 31st. And then looking forward to June when we start year 2 already.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm excited to see everybody this weekend at the TIE conference, and I'm excited for year 2. So coming along really quickly.
Yeah, we're not going to give you much a breather between May 31st and year 2, but we hope we won't have to cancel for snow.
Shh, shh. I can't even believe
Okay.
you said that out loud.
Or, or floods or tornadoes or any of that stuff.
Well, what I'm really excited about is we'll be able to kick off because we've moved the face-to-face to early summer. It's going to make it so much more easier to space out the courses and the webinars for next year and everything, and have it not be quite so cramped. So I think it'll be good.
Well, plus we can pose this question. It's one we're going to ask to the whole group on Sunday, but we did the webinars now once a month, excuse me, January to April. And we've had the thought, what about if we do 2 webinars in the fall next year and 2 in the winter and space those out even more? Unmute yourself or put it in the chat. What do you think about that idea? Or we want to think out of the box. So if you have other ideas of how this would best help you, please let us know. But in the grant, of course, this is our outline that we would do the online courses, webinars, and the TIE conference, as well as the face-to-face. So those are some things that we have to adhere to, but we can shake it up a little bit. Oh no, it's silent. Excuse me a minute.
I don't mind the webinars now. I like that you send out an email reminder, because I get so busy with work and then with the 4 kids at home that the reminder is nice. Otherwise, I think I missed the last webinar, but we were out of town. But it's nice to have a reminder.
Well, and plus you can always watch the archive of it.
Yeah, it's true.
We have that there. Yeah. So.
And Carrie says that this has worked fine for her, but 2 in the fall and 2 in the spring would be okay too. Oh, good. And Nola says that either way for webinars, split up or every month. She appreciates the reminders, and she forgot about today until she got the email. One of the things that we talked about, Joan, we were kind of planning is we would do probably like in October, November, take January or December off just because December is just always so busy, and then do January, February for the webinars, and so that it kind of overlaps it overlaps the 2 online courses. But like right now you guys are doing 4 webinars and an online course, and so that way it's split up the webinars and TIE, yeah.
So we could space that out a little better.
Yeah. But having a whole year, I think, is going. I mean, because we didn't start until October with everything, and so I think having a whole year is going to make it be a little more easier to space things out. All right. Well, so I will send out a TIE conference email tonight, and I don't think. And I will be sending out reminders as to like when I send out the archive for the webinar, I will send out the reminder when these assignments need to be completed by, so you have that. And then also, I think and then if you're coming to the TIE conference, there's a separate graduate credit for that. So that's totally separate. So all that.
But again, please let us know if you want just CEU hours for the webinars, or you're going to apply for credit. We've heard from some people, but not everyone, whether you're on this webinar or not. If you're watching it archived, just shoot Julie or me an email on that.
And I'll probably ask you again anyways, because I just don't remember anything anymore.
Yes, well, now that the series, we probably will send out a Google form, but now that the series is complete, to make sure everybody gets the credit that they need.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think this is everything, Joan. Do we?
It is.
Cool. Well, this was a nice one, and I'm glad we got to incorporate Ty Reed's because it is one of my favorite things.
So anything else or any questions about anything else, not necessarily the webinar, please feel free, unmute or put it in the chat. We're giving you plenty of time to go back and look at all those hashtags. One of the things too that I forgot to mention about Ty is some of the presenters are already tweeting or posting about their presentations. So you might want to check some of those even before the conference.
Oh, actually, yeah, and I can pop up my Twitter real quick and see what's happening. Here's the Overdrive gal. She's coming. She's very excited. We have escape room. I know a group of the Wyoming librarians have signed up for that. I don't. That's an ad.
Yeah, that's an ad. Here's Terry.
There's Terry. Yes.
Oh, she's presenting 3 times.
Yeah.
Cool. If you don't know Terry, she's a good one to follow.
Yeah, she is. She does an awful lot with South Dakota Ed Chat. She's not a librarian, but we still like her a lot. She does a lot with code.org and everything like that. Yeah.
Spearfish Middle School, correct?
Yep, that's where she's
That's where she is.
We had lots of,
and there'll be more that pop up as we get closer to also.
Yeah. And I should probably start tweeting. And that
Yeah,
was just
maybe I should do that.
I know.
Too.
Speaking of that, I should probably get my tweets out there. So, and I was just looking at the top. You do want to look at the latest because that's a better way to, and that the top and the latest look. But a lot of times, especially during the conference, if you just look at the top, you're not necessarily going to see what's happening
exactly
right then and now. Well, I'm so excited. So we'll see you guys hopefully online if we don't see you in person next week. We'll miss you, Nola.
But we're so looking forward to meeting everyone in person in June.
Yes. Yes. So, all right. Well, if you guys don't have any questions or need anything else, we'll wrap it up for tonight and we'll see you
Can
guys.
I add one question?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm kind of looking through all the sessions and there's so many. Are you gonna possibly like narrow it down, maybe some featured ones for librarians?
You know what? It's on my list to do. Actually, because I was asked that question a couple weeks ago, and I needed a grid, and I got a grid, and I've just been on the go. But I will do that tonight probably because I do need to answer that email also. So give you guys just kind of some suggested ones because there are a number of school librarians that are presenting, though they don't necessarily. They're not called school librarians, or I just know they're school librarians because I know their names. So I will look for some suggested sessions for you guys and pull that.
Thank you.
But you guys can go wherever you want. You don't have to follow my suggestions, except for Sunday. You have to come to Sunday.
Yes, we have to see you Sunday.
So.
Okay. Good question.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. We'll see you.
See you.